I used to think that investing was hard, boring, or complicated, but I found the perfect stock investing course that showed me how to invest as a complete newbie. Now I can build wealth in the stock market and do all the things that I enjoy at the same time. Check out the Lazy Investor Stock course and get started on your wealth building journey today.
What's going on? It's David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, founder of the highest paid part-time job in the Real Options Trading Academy. So what we're going to talk about really quickly is you are distracted and your job is being eliminated. Did the economic blackout work, right? So we're going to talk about two quick topics before we get up on out of here. Is the first one is about this particular economic blackout that went on, I want to say Friday. Do we think that worked? And then also this idea that because of automation that your job may be eliminated. And we don't mean eliminated, but mean by they may not hire you, but also we can mean that they may not add new people onto the particular situation that you're involved in. And so we're going to look at those two particular scenarios and I want to try to figure out, can we take something from that we can apply to our day-to-day life, right? So let's talk about this economic blackout. I wasn't even aware that it was going on until yesterday. I heard a lot of people talking about it. I wasn't aware it was going on at all. Then we're starting to see a lot of media around it. Let's watch a really quick, let's say, video based on that, and to kind of ask ourselves some questions about how effective these type of what we call kind of like flash lockouts or flash economic boycotts are. Let's go ahead and get into that real quick.
That's calling on people to boycott major corporations and retailers for 24 hours in what's being called an economic blackout.
NBC5's V. Wynn has more on what Chicagoans are saying about this movement locally.
Some people living and working in Chicago's Hyde Park say they're preparing for the economic blackout.
It's a big message, and we really have to take it seriously.
We do have influence on where we spend our money, and I think that it will get some attention.
We've been buying meals to make sure that we don't have to, buy anything to eat out.
Shannon Stokes and her family first heard about the nationwide boycott on social media, urging consumers not to shop or spend money at major corporations or retailers for 24 hours. That includes not getting fast food or gas or groceries in protest of everything that's been going on.
We have to make our voices heard in their pockets. There's absolutely no other choice that I would have.
A grassroots organization started the movement to showcase the buying power of consumers while protesting against major corporations like Target and Walmart for rolling back their diversity, equity, and inclusion programs.
The time for silence is over.
All right now.
And we refuse to stand by while corporate greed devours our communities.
This comes as President Trump signed executive orders pushing to end DEI programs and policies. Participants across the Chicagoland area hoping to disrupt the economy and to send a message calling for change, saying this is the least that they could do.
If this is what we have to do to send a message, then I think that's a great thing, because we have to do what we have to do to get the attention and to show our influence in the economy.
The founder of the People's Union USA is...
Okay, so that's a quick, kind of basic background on this particular, what we call economic blackout day. And it's pretty much was done all across the country. Let's go to a really quick article on it real quick, kind of get an understanding of the person that started it. Because like I said before, I wasn't even aware of this was even going on. Let me bring this up real quick. And so from CNN Business, so a guy named John Schwartz, he's a meditation facilitator. He did this in early February, proposed a 24-hour economic blackout of major chains the last day of last month. So he asked people to forego spending at Amazon, Walmart, other retailers, fast food companies, only spend money at small businesses, local, and on essential needs. So he claims that the system is designed to exploit us, who go by the name The One Called Jay on social media. He got almost 250,000 followers. And then he's quoted as on February 28th, we're going to remind them who really holds the power, for one day we turn it off. Okay, I mean, that's cool. My bad. So let me go through that one more time. So we have John Schwartz. He's a mediation facilitator. He proposed a 24-hour nationwide economic blackout of major chains on the last day of the month. He urged people to forego spending at Amazon, Walmart, other major retailers for one day. He asked people to only spend at small businesses and essential needs. So he claims that the system is designed to exploit us. He got about 250,000 followers across the social media. He says on February 28th, we're going to remind them who really holds the power for one day that will turn it off. So again, I wasn't really aware of this. I heard more and more people talking about it. I don't know who this particular organizer is. The questions I would have anytime we have some type of economic boycott, my question is, what's going to be the goal of the one-day boycott? So what is the goal of doing this for one day, right? Then the next question would be, how is the success and the failure measured? So let's say we do it for one day. How do we determine whether or not it was successful? Or how do we determine if it was for failure and we didn't get what our goals were accomplished? So maybe we want to try it again. Maybe we want to adjust things of that nature. So I think without goals, we don't really know what we're aiming for, or what are we aiming for, right? So those would be my questions. Because one thing about social media, it can be a blessing and a curse. Social media allows you to get a message out there to a lot of different people really, really quick and really fast. But sometimes what the actual core message is, it kind of gets lost as it moves across more social media. So by the time it gets to millions and millions of people, what we initially were originally talking about, that may not even be the topic anymore. People may be talking about something different. The next thing I want to ask is that if you were experiencing economic challenges 2 years ago, why did you not boycott then? Right? And because we know that 2 years ago, Target, Walmart were still around. Therefore, is it just because of what's currently going on right now is we're deciding that we're going to boycott? And then are we going to continue to do that as this next 4 years goes on? So what was the trigger for us to boycott in 2025 as opposed to us boycotting in 2023 when you had these same organizations around in 2023? So I'm trying to figure out what changed. Did things finally get to a point where we said, okay, we can't take it anymore, and now we have to boycott? Those will kind of be the questions, right? Why boycott now if we were in the same economic situation 2 years ago, we didn't boycott then? So what's the real reason why we're boycotting these major corporations? And so those would be some of the questions I would ask before I just jumped up and decided that I was going to do a boycott. But everybody's different. These things happen a lot of times when people get displeased. They'll become some type of social media movement. It'll last for a certain amount of time, but it's often hard to have staying power if we haven't really defined what our goals are before we start doing it. And then how do we evaluate the success or the failure of those goals? But that may not be what people want. People may just want to be, what's the thing to do for this weekend? And then next weekend we do something different. So that's the only thing. So I don't really have a lot of critique around it. I'm not against boycotts, but I'm really for goals. So the next question would be, what happens next? Okay, so we boycotted, or those people boycotted Friday that just passed. Okay, cool. Now what do we do? So I heard through the grapevine that they're looking to do more boycotts next month. So again, is the plan to just do these rolling boycotts where every few weeks we boycott economic activity in a certain part of the economy? Again, what's the goal of doing that? Is it just to show that we can all get on one page? So these would be some of the questions I would ask, because I think if we don't have set goals, if we're not trying to hit certain benchmarks, the enthusiasm around boycotts will start to get lower and lower with every additional boycott, right? From my understanding, boycotts don't work short term. They normally have to be sustained. They're kind of like a war of attrition. But again, what happens next after we did this? So those would be the questions I would ask. And then try to figure out, okay, where are we really trying to take this? What are our demands? So if we're boycotting Walmart and Target and we're boycotting these other people, what are our demands, for the boycott? So are we saying if we don't get 1, 2, 3 back, we'll continue to boycott? Like, what are our demands? So again, we haven't really defined any real goals or expectations for what we're doing. So I'm not really sure what the real reason for what we're doing. But it is what it is, right? So for everybody that's boycotting, good luck to the boycott. And, I hope everything works out for you. So let's get it rolling to this next situation. We're going to talk about you're distracted, your job is being eliminated. What we're going to talk about is how Amazon is getting rid of, I wouldn't say getting rid of, I would say they will not replace a lot of their human labor because they're automating. So while we're already on this page, let's go to the Financial Times, right? Something I encourage people to read. So Amazon's going to spend $25 billion on this retail network, including investment in a new generation of robotic-led warehouses, seeks to improve efficiencies across the business, but they're really trying to compete with Temu. Some of y'all know about Temu, right? So Amazon's going to do a CapEx of $100 billion this year, but a quarter is going to be spent on AI initiatives, computing infrastructure, right? I'm sorry, a quarter is going to be spent on the e-commerce arm, where they're going to really invest heavily in automation, according to analysts. So they want to lean the business out, similar to what they call the largest, or the world's largest startup, which is why earlier they got rid of a lot of middle management. You see that in a lot of businesses where they expand. Once they get to a certain size, they cut the middle out because they're getting ready to cut out the bottom. So they don't need the middle anymore. So one of the key indicators that they're getting ready to cut out the bottom is they cut out the middle. They do this in big businesses all the time. They expand, they add a lot of people, they add a big management group, then they get rid of that middle management group that are not like the C-suite people, because they're getting ready to also cut the bottom, or they're getting ready to no longer add to the bottom, so they don't need to continue to expand, right? We see that with a lot of businesses. So analysts estimate that investments by Amazon could generate about $10 billion in annual savings by the end of this decade. So they got a fulfillment center in Shreveport, Louisiana. That's considered their most technologically advanced warehouse. It's demonstrated the type of savings it can achieve with automation. So this facility, which opened in September, uses robots at every stage of fulfillment and has achieved a 25% cut in costs, according to Amazon, following the tenfold increase in robotics compared with its previous generation of warehouses, right? So that's going to be that particular story. So what we saw earlier was that Amazon spoke about that $100 billion CapEx. And a lot of investors got scared off by that, because what they're seeing is that Amazon is getting ready to invest a lot of money into business. But, you know, when you're doing these type of things, there's no guarantee it's going to work out. But if Amazon's looking to try to improve that particular business, and one thing they're going to do is they're going to increase a lot of their automation in their fulfillment centers. And it may not be just to let people go, but it may be because we're not going to add more people to it. So if they can continue to expand fulfillment, but not add more people, that may work out, right? So let's watch this really quick video. I'm going to show you two videos. I'm going to show you one I dropped on YouTube like a year ago, and it's going to show you Amazon testing out their robots. Then we're going to talk about another one at the actual fulfillment center that they have in Shreveport, Louisiana. And so we dropped this like a year ago on the channel, and you can see the guy to the left with the computers. They're controlling those robots, so they're not completely automated. But what Amazon really is doing is just really creating a test environment. So we know that this would be the next stage, right? And so something that we've been told for years that Amazon was doing was using human labor to figure out what their processes are. And then once they kind of figure out what their process and their systems are, they build out the SOPs. Then now they can bring in the automation because they understand how everything works and how it needs to work. So I really believe that you're going to continue to get this particular push in a lot of their fulfillment centers, because they're looking for more speed. They're looking for things to be more efficient. And when you don't have to deal with a lot of human beings, you don't have to deal with a lot of the issues that come with dealing with humans, because humans got all kinds of things going on and robots don't, because they're robots. So let's go into this next video, kind of explaining that fulfillment center in Shreveport, Louisiana, that's supposed to be kind of like their standard for automation. And you'll see some of the robots already currently in there operating. And they're almost kind of like those, y'all seen those automated vacuum cleaners? They're very similar to that, but they can like move boxes and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and get into that.
Good evening. I'm Jackie Jovic.
Thanks for being with us. I'm Dan Jovic. In the near future, 1,000 people will be calling it their place of work. NBC6's Yalisha Gatewood takes us inside. It's our top story tonight.
I'm standing outside of SHV1, which is Shreveport's Amazon Fulfillment Center. Let's take a trip inside. Shreveport's Amazon Fulfillment Center is nearing completion with a mid-2024 launch date. This 3.2 million square foot facility is 5 stories tall and about 3 to 4 football fields across. It is the second largest Amazon fulfillment center in Louisiana.
So Amazon's technology continues to evolve, and in this particular building, we'll have hundreds of Kiva robots working alongside those 1,000 employees. Just helps us get packages to customers faster.
This fulfillment center houses items that are waiting to be purchased on Amazon.com, as well as purchased items ready to be shipped out, weighing 25 pounds or less. Amazon officials say this center will bring about 1,000 jobs to the area.
So after 90 days of employment with Amazon, you're eligible to receive full tuition through our career choice program. So that's full tuition for college, secondary education, ESL classes, GEDs, or any sorts of trade program.
Jobs with lots of benefits.
So healthcare, vision, and dental all starting day one,
which officials say will bring in continuous revenue into the city of Shreveport.
Certainly in the Shreveport and Caddo Parish community, we've had tremendous support from city officials, county officials. We've worked really closely with the North Louisiana Economic Partnership on this project. And quite honestly, without their support and partnership in creating this fulfillment center, we wouldn't be able to do what we've been able to do here today.
This facility will be 24 hours, which gives employees flexible hours to come in and work. Reporting outside of Shreveport's Amazon Fulfillment Center, Alicia Gatewood, NBC6 News.
Okay, so big up to Shreveport. So that's a big opportunity for their particular area. 5 stories. They run it 24 hours. Massive facility. So there will be a big human footprint, but you also see a big robotics footprint, and then they're moving more in that particular area. So one of the questions that we want to kind of ask around this particular type of situation is, if you're working on a job, are you fixed cost or variable cost on your job? And do you know the difference? Right? And it could be a mix of two. You're an employee on your job. Are you fixed cost, right? Are you fixed to the cost of what they're doing? Or is what you're doing variable to what they're doing? And you got to kind of ask how you're baked into their particular model for them to make money at that business, right? Next question you want to ask yourself is, does your job need your human labor to do the job? Right? And what I'm saying is that you bring something intangible like a mechanic. It's going to be difficult for them to replace mechanics with robots, because being a mechanic is very discretionary, right? There's not one set way to do something as a mechanic. There's systems, but mechanics in the way in which they have to determine whether or not something's broken, then what they need to do to fix it. There's so much discretion involved in that. Until you maybe come out with stuff like modular cars, it's going to be very difficult to replace humans with robots in like being a car mechanic, being a diesel mechanic. So these are jobs that a lot of people don't think about, but they're going to kind of stand the test of time because they're going to be so difficult to replace with a robot. But if I'm in a warehouse and I need to just take a box down a track, because it's a closed environment, they can plot that out. And the robot can just know, I just got to move down this particular track, and have sensors on it so it don't run into other robots or other objects. And it's just running a track because it's a closed environment. Where a mechanic, there's so much discretion in what they have to do to try to determine, because a lot of people, many people, if you've experienced, you go to a mechanic, they tell you it's fixed, bring it back home 2 days later, you still got the same problem. It's because their decision-making didn't lead them to come up with the right solution. So there's a lot of discretion in areas like that. So there's certain trades and certain professions where there's a large amount of discretion in what they're doing. That's going to be difficult to replace with a robot or through some type of automation. Other jobs to where you don't have that level of discretion and you don't need that type of judgment or decision making, and you can actually plot it out, it's going to be a lot easier. So you need to really ask yourself, does your job need your human labor to do the job? And if they really don't, then you could be at risk of not just getting fired, but also them not adding any more new people to your profession. So what happens is, just as you roll out of that job, they just don't add new people in. And this is probably what I think is going to happen at Amazon. So then the question is, what skills do you have that cannot be easily automated with machines? And so these are some of the questions that I would ask myself. Do I bring certain skills to the table to where a machine cannot easily automate me? Right? Because even in some tech spaces, they're going to be able to be automated out with machines. some people for some reason believe if I just go into tech, I am, protected. There's some tech positions, especially around like programming, development, things of that nature, where eventually they're going to try to use machines to get them out of there, or they're going to use a very, very small human footprint and a lot of what we're calling AI to do the job. And you're seeing that now with a lot of coding, where they want to use outsourced coders from other parts of the world and artificial intelligence and have the outsourced coders just supervise the artificial intelligence in creating the code. So these are some of the things that you want to look at. So ask yourself these questions around your profession. Look at what's the time frame from where I'm currently at now to where I'm looking to get ready to retire. And then will I be able to stay in this particular profession until I hit that particular time frame? Or do I think that automation or maybe some changes in demographics, maybe the way a market's going to change, may eventually force me out? A lot of professions that were really big 10, 15 years ago, they really no longer exist. And I haven't really seen a lot of data that as we force people out of certain professions, that they automatically get absorbed into a new one. I haven't really seen that. Some people say, as we advance from a tech standpoint, it creates new jobs, but does it create new jobs at the same number as the jobs that we lost, right? And there's often a lot of retraining that has to go on for people to get those new jobs. And are they aware of that? Because what we're dealing with for a very long period of time in America is we had a lot of people employed that really weren't skilled. And as they lost those unskilled kind of professions to automation, to lower cost people, they really didn't understand they needed to retrain themselves to be able to get new jobs in a new environment. So that's going to be it. Not going to be here long, but I want to really encourage you to not get caught up in a lot of what's going on. You're going to continue to get a lot more distractions to what's actually going on in the world today for whatever reason. And I want to encourage you not to get caught up in that. Focus on what's important to you and your group. We're one of the few channels that does economics. I'm not a fan of people that never talk about econ and never have an economic scope to anything. All of a sudden now start talking about boycotts and things of that nature, right? I'm not a big fan of that because to me, that's not really their lane. Their lane is something else. And now they're kind of using this as a way to, do whatever. So I'm not a fan of that type of scenario. And so one thing that we've done here is we talked about the economic piece consistently going on now 3 and 4 years. We're going to continue to do that because I want you to really understand that's a really important part. We just saw on Friday with all that going on. And I think the situation with Trump and Zelensky kind of overshadowed that economic boycott, but they were arguing and having a fallout over an economic situation. But if you notice, mainstream media doesn't present that because they feel like their audience won't understand it. So they talk about everything else. But really, that's an economic debate and an economic disagreement, which created the fallout. And because we don't really understand that part of it, we can't present that part of the story because all people feel like, well, nobody's going to understand anyway. So let's talk about everything else associated with it, when in reality, it's really an economic issue that they fell out about. And so that's what I want people to realize, that this stuff is going on every day. It's not going to never stop going on. And I want to really encourage you to get an understanding of what's going on around it so you and your group can have some level of ability to do the things that you need to do for your people, as opposed to kind of just getting pushed around, right? And just getting distracted for the rest of your life. So that's pretty much going to be it. We're not going to be here long. It's not really that controversial. Anybody got any questions, comments, or disagreements? It's your opportunity to come through, read these comments, and keep it moving. And for some reason, the delay between YouTube and myself is like way worse than it's ever been. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me stop this screen. Dun, dun. So that's been pinned in the chat. The invite link's been pinned in the chat. Anybody want to come through, questions, comments, or disagreements, let me know. Appreciate everybody for showing up. So Corporate Checks, man, appreciate the $1.99 super chat. Ray Gunn, appreciate the $2 super chat. Appreciate you for coming through and being a mod. Miss Phoenix 91, I thank you for gifting people 5 memberships. Really appreciate it. So whoever got the memberships, man, I want to really encourage you to take advantage of the information that's being presented. Let's come through. So Dr. Chaz, I'm going to hit you up. My fault on that. It's been a crazy week. I'm going to hit you up as soon as I get off here. I'm going to hit you up. So that's my fault on that, Dr. Chaz. My bad on that, right? It's been a crazy week, but that's still not an excuse. I'm going to hit you up as soon as I jump off of here. So appreciate you giving me a heads up on that. Al Tech, man, what's going on with it? Let me go through with bro. Aries 1, I'm sorry about that. $9.99 super chat. Appreciate you coming through. You're going to be the sponsor of the show. T Hill, what's up with it? Jared, what's going on from Cincinnati? Jay Preston, what's going on? What's up with Notary World? GC, what's up with it? Girls of Pearls, what's going on? Mr. Schwartz, John James. He got social media platforms. You go check him out. He got 250,000 people on social. So he got an audience. So I would just go through and check him out, see what he up to. But he has an audience on social media. He got 250,000 people. Ed Dog, what's up with it? So MJ Cannabis says boycott should have an objective to reduce quarterly earnings by a percentage. I mean, how do they go about doing that? With one day, will one day not spending any money do that? You know? Taylor D says pointless to boycott the same company you patronize majority of the year. Seems more like an ego boost. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I mean, I wasn't involved in it, so I don't know. So Blossom and Bloom says went to the Marketing Max Awards hosted by GSU. I think that's Georgia State University. The CEO of Metro Atlanta Chamber was very bold on future for South Orlando Metro. They want us out in more AI. I feel you. So Ann1 says from Oakland, California, seeing too many of these performative gestures lead to nothing. Black folks go back to doing the same thing, social justice, mind games. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if there's no goals that have been set in stone, not set in stone, but there's no goals that have been established and there's no milestones to hit the goals, I think people just do fall back into their old behavior, right? So again, that's why I asked, like, what are the goals of what's going on? What are people trying to accomplish? Things of that nature, as opposed to what's going to make people, I don't know, feel good. Because when I think a lot of people across the board, black, white, green, and purple, I think a lot of people feel disempowered, right? And so people, to me, are looking for all different kind of ways to try to feel like they got some power in the world. And they're doing a lot of different ways. But I think across the board, a lot of people feel disempowered in this world. They don't feel like they have any authority. They don't feel like they have any level of autonomy. And so they're looking for that in a lot of different ways, right? And so I just think this may be one way in which that can kind of get exercised or get expressed. But how long is it going to be done? But I think that's across the board. I appreciate you coming through, Miss Aries 1. So Taylor D says, I'm thinking the argument between Trump and Zelensky might lead to increased warfare between Russia and Ukraine. Let's see how it plays out. So big up to Miss Alexander becoming a new member. So Mika Khan, appreciate the $2 super chat. Blue collar jobs. Dr. Chad says blue collar jobs are the new high level longevity, mechanics, plumbers, roofers, etc. I 100% agree with you. I think the people that are going to really be buffered from a lot of this automation are going to be the high skilled tradespeople, right? That are willing to do hard work with their hands, because it's going to be very difficult, again, to get robots to do that type of work. It's very discretionary. And so I think those people are going to stand the test of time. Like, it's going to be a long time before they can get a robot to do diesel mechanic, right? It's going to be a long time for that. It's going to be a long time before they get robots to do airplane mechanics. Like, it's certain type of jobs that are going to be blue collar that you got to work with your hands, especially fixing things. It's going to be a long time. I mean, Solid Steps to Wealth, what she does with appliance repair, it's going to be a long time before they can get a robot to do what she does. Like, it's going to be a long time for that. So I just think those type of jobs, but I think so many people were not attracted to those positions because they feel like they're not high status, to where people may not even be looking over there in those particular areas, right? But yeah, I think it's even trucking, even though people are kind of down on trucking now, but they still need people to drive freight. That's not going to go nowhere. And I don't think they ever are going to allow robo trucks or robo semis. I don't think that's going to happen. So Dr. Chaz said, I thought the medical field was untouchable, but technological improvement keeps proving that wrong. Yeah, Dr. Chaz, and I always felt that's a place that they was going to really sink a lot of money in, because there's there's so much money in medicine. Like, medicine is just so lucrative, and medicine has always had a big HR footprint. And so I felt like they was going to try to get rid of a lot of those people. Because one thing I've always known about medicine, if you're willing to work and actually sit in the space, you can make a lot of money. But it's a lot of time, it's a lot of hours. So I figured they was going to get rid of those people. But what we'll see in medicine, Dr. Chaz, is they'll probably bring in the artificial intelligence, but the price won't go down. But it should, because you got less people working. But the price will probably go up. So Parchment says lots of shipyard work. I feel you if you live close to a shipyard. Some people live in landlocked states. So yeah, you live close to a port, you good. But they're being automated out too, though, to be quiet as kept. A lot of jobs are being replaced through certain stuff. I mean, I really think people that fix things and build stuff are going to be the people to where they're going to be insulated from a lot of this stuff. I think anybody that's moving things, because one thing about a shipyard, and I think I did a video on this YouTube, is they show that they were using robots. I forgot what shipyard it was. They were using robots to move stuff around. So it's not 100% replaced, but they are doing some efforts in that particular area. So Lorraine D said, I discussed the DEI rollbacks as one of the catalysts for the boycott. So Miss Lorraine D, the guy that, from what we understand, organized it, didn't speak to the DEI rollbacks, right? But my question would be, what are the goals of it? So people don't shop at Target for a day or Walmart for a day. Does that make them reestablish their DEI policies? Right? So we can protest, okay, we don't like the fact that you did it. Okay, now once that's done, once that's been expressed, now what? Right? And I think it's challenging, Miss Lorraine, to where when we have a government, we have an administration in the White House that's pushing a particular policy, right? And corporations get on board with it because the administration is pushing a policy. Then we get a new administration in and they pushing a different policy. Corporations often gonna get on board with that. So you might have some that might go against the grain like Costco, but a lot of them gonna get on board with that because they just don't want the trouble. So I'm not sure what the masses can do to make Target keep up whatever their DEI policies were. I don't know, because I haven't really looked into it and I don't work at Target. Make them maintain it or make them continue to expand it, even though they didn't do a lot of what they said they were going to do. If we got an administration in DC that's pretty much against it, right? So I hear you on the DEI rollbacks, but I'm just really not understanding what the goal of a one-day economic boycott was. Maybe it was just a tester. Like, let's just see, can we do it? Can we get all on the same page? Okay, now that we've established that, now let's do a much more sustained economic boycott, right? I didn't even know people even shopped at Target like that, because I don't. I haven't, so I didn't even really think that. To me, it's not, like, I don't hardly ever go to Target. So that's not that big of a deal. But again, what's the goal of the rollback? I'm sorry, what's the goal of the boycott? I'm sorry about that. So that's just the question we're asking. What's the goal of, what is it trying to accomplish? And then how does one day do that? Right? So I'm not sure, but great question though, Miss Lorraine. Okay, Miss Mosley, I feel you. So Alexander Wilson, if you rewind the show from the top, you'll get plugged in, bro. So any other questions, comments, like I say, any disagreements, comments you want to come on live, let me know. Here's your big opportunity. We got 146. So let me get 146 likes. The likes are free. Appreciate for everybody that came through with the super chat. Also, Miss Phoenix 91 for gifting people memberships. Miss Aries 1 says shopped at Target in 15 years. Yeah, I mean, I've been in there a few times, but it's not like it's not even one close to me. So that's one of the biggest things. It's not even close. It's way, way out of the way. So it's no real reason for me to be up in there. It's like in a weird place too. So I don't know. What's going on with Erica? Target has tons of black products over here in Texas, competition to the Asian stores. I feel you. Yeah, I don't really be in Target like that. I used to work in Target, but it's just in a weird spot. And when I go into Target, there's nothing there. Now, they online store is dope, but I don't buy clothes like that. Right? Their online store is good, but I'm never really like in the store at all. And then when you go in there, there's hardly anything in there. So Lorraine D says a different calendar from Al Sharpton that calls for 30 to 60-day boycotts. Okay, I feel you, Miss Lorraine D. So what's the goal of the 30 to 60-day boycotts? So I feel you. So Mr. Sharpton's come up with from 30. Let's say we do a 60-day boycott. What's the goal of the boycott? So we're going to boycott these particular stores for 60 days. What are we trying to accomplish by doing that? I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying I'm asking a question. Right? Because when we look at a lot of effective boycotts, the goal was to like adjust the behavior of the people that were being boycotted. So what's the goal of these particular boycotts? Right? That's what I would try to figure out. Right? What's the goal of it? Not saying I'm against it, but what's the goal of the boycott for 60 days? So I talked about that I believe that they're going to roll out some other boycotts in April because we're in March now. So kind of like, what's the goal of doing that? And let's just take it from there. Because I'm going to say this, Ms. Lorraine, I think because of this particular administration that we're in, I think a lot of people that are quote unquote activists are going to try to come up with initiatives and actions to make themselves seem relevant in this time because they're not going to get access to the White House. But they need to show that they got something going. So we kind of see this in politics to where if I don't like the person that's in office, I just do protest content or do protest work, right? And that's just kind of what I do because I don't like the person that's in office, and that's kind of how I make myself seem relevant. So, you know, it is what it is, you know, but I'm not against it. You know, that's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. I just was trying to figure out what's the goal of it. So Trucker 202, I don't think that's accurate, bro. I would do some research on that if you get a chance. So Miss Erica says, I haven't been to Walmart in years, only if there's an emergency. Target and HEB my go-to. Yeah, I don't really go to Target. I'll go to Walmart. I went to some HEBs when I was in Texas. It was one off Highway 6, towards Sugar Hill. It's close to my gym. That's why I went there. It just seems like a really big Aldi. Just really wasn't impressed. Just seems like a really, really big Aldi. You know, because like I said, I'm from the Southeast. I'm used to Publix and, you know, like Whole Foods. Never was a big fan of Trader Joe's. But I'm really used to Florida Publixes, Central Florida Publixes, and the standard that they set. And it's hard to find grocery stores to me that's at that standard. Walmart is a mix, so you can't really hold them to nothing. But I would go into that HEB, and I was like, okay, it's like a really big Aldi to me. But I heard they're real big in Texas. Tucker, they got something called Gemini that'll probably answer that question for you. Because that's a number. So it'll probably answer that question. I don't know how you would discern that, but Gemini may be able to. What's up to Christian Amerson? What's up with it, bro? So Ms. Mosley will do. I appreciate the support. Thank you for coming through, and appreciate you being a supporter of the channel for an extended period of time. Ms. Ari say you're getting your toilet paper from Home Depot. I feel you. L. Vickers, Target was your go-to in Dallas. Is 5 minutes from where I live. I've been to Walmart a few years. Yeah, I don't really live close to a Target at all. Like, it's way out of the way. And then yeah, it's way out of the way. So that's probably why I don't go to one. It's just way out of the way. But I'm not really impressed by Target. Right? I used to work in one, but I'm just really not that impressed. Last time I went to one in Thanksgiving to buy some boxes so I could ship some stuff from Orlando. That's like the last time I've been in there. And there wasn't nothing in there when I went in there. Then I could barely find boxes. I don't know. I just think maybe they just keep light inventory. That must be their thing. They just keep real light inventory, make sure they sell everything. Super Target and Dunwoody has everything from groceries to home necessities. I feel you. I'm not anywhere close to Dunwoody, but big up to them. Miss V's World, outcome of the boycott was supposed to be. You're not really sure. Maybe I missed it though, because I'm not in those. I'm like kind of not in those communities, so maybe I missed it. What the goal of the boycott was, so it might have just went over my head. So it may come out when they do the 60-day boycott. They may come out with some action points of why we're boycotting. Because like I say, maybe this was just a way to kind of get everybody on the same page with the organization of it. Then we roll it out later on next month. They may come with some action points of what they're trying to hit. Right? I'm not sure. Right? So let's see, maybe they'll see what it is. Right? I'm not against it. I'm not for it. That's what people want to do. So let me give an example. There's a store. Anybody in the Atlanta metro area knows Naydum. It's like Nayday Mom or whatever. Like they're a Korean grocer, right? They're real big in the metro. They own like multiple spots. And one thing about them, not in every scenario, but sometimes they own the whole commercial footprint in the area that they're at. I don't go there no more because I don't like how they treat people, right? But I'm not trying to get y'all not to go there. I'm just not going to go, right? I'm not part of a mutual aid organization or organization to where I could tell everybody around me not to go. I just don't go. I don't like how they treat people. And they have good stuff in there, but I don't like what they do. I don't like how they hire. I don't like the way they treat people when you come up in there. I'm not a fan of, and this is something that Trump claimed he was doing, and let's see if they actually roll it out. I do not think that you should ever be able to operate a business inside the United States and people don't have to speak English. I think that should be illegal, right? And so what they do is it's owned by a bunch of Koreans. They hire a bunch of Mexicans because they work cheap. Mexicans click up, and they really click up around their language. So you'll go up in there, and they'll act like they don't speak English. I'm not even going to act. I'm not even going to go back and forth with you. I won't spend no money with you. You won't get $1 of my money. And they have real good stuff. They got a lot of fruits that you can't get. They got a lot of vegetables you can't get because they buy a lot of stuff. So if you know the grocery game, So like, let's go to Publix or Whole Foods. They're looking for produce that's considered like grade A, right? So it can't have any blemishes on it, can't have any marks on it, right? That's grade A. Underneath that, it's still a market for it, but it can't be sold premium. So what this particular Asian grocer does is they buy that type of they buy that type of produce. It's still good. It just might, the cucumbers might have like little marks on them, yada, yada, yada. But it's not as if it's bad. It's just not grade A, right? So they give you that stuff at a cheap price. You go in and get cucumbers for $4. They cherries be real, real cheap. I love cherries, but I'm not going to pay $4 a pound for no cherries. But they'll have cherries in there like $2.99 a pound for the bag. You know what I'm saying? So you better get a whole big bag of them for like $6, right? So they have real good deals on produce. But I'm not going back and forth with y'all over nothing. I work too hard for my money. Like, I work way too hard for mine. Like, I work way too hard for my money. Like, I work for mine. So I'm just not going to do it with you. So I won't spend $1. So I drive by that place all the time, right? Because they're real prominent in the metro area. But I ain't going to spend $1 with them folks, man. Because I'm not finna go back and forth with y'all about nothing. Not when it comes to my money. It's not going to happen. So I don't try to put nobody else on board with me. I'm just not going to spend no money with them. So I believe in economic boycotts, right? But I'm not trying to even get them to adjust their behavior. They can do whatever they want to do. I'm just not going to spend no money with the folks, right? Because I think it should be illegal for people to operate a business inside the United States and they don't have to speak English. I think that should be illegal. So we'll see if these particular states that claim they so MAGA, yada, 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 like Texas, they back up Trump on saying that English is going to be the official language of the country. Because I was in Texas going to get my driver's license. I'm in the DMV and they are translating the test for this dude because he couldn't speak English. I'm trying to figure out, you shouldn't get no license then because you can't read the sign on the street. So what you need a license for? You need to drive or you need to walk or catch a ride or take a bike till your English get up. Because if you can't take the test ain't like it's a college physics test. It's a basic DMV driver's license test. It's a written part of it. If you can't take that, what you need a license for means you can't read the road signs, bro. But it is what it is. So I'm for certain boycotts. I'm just not going to try to get y'all to do it. I'm going to do it by myself. And I've done that, especially with a lot of Asian spots. I don't know. They just be trying stuff. I'd be like, man, that's cool. I had another issue with the dry cleaners. I did the same thing. They'll never get $1 out of me ever. Mr. CMB, I feel you. I feel you. With grocery, it's challenging, but I feel you. Hit up some farmers markets. In fact, I'm going to put up some black farmers on my YouTube later on. I interviewed a guy down there in South Georgia. He got a farmer brother. I'm going to put them up, but I agree with you on that. Yerker says Asian stores sometimes hit and miss with attitudes. Yeah, so because what it is, hire a bunch of Mexicans, right? That's what they do. And they sit up and act like they can't speak English. That's cool. You're not going to get none of my American money either. I'm not even going to go back and forth with them folks. Vic the Kid. Yeah, I mean, I think it was, the first, the Walmart's crazy today, man, because, the checks come out. And I call it a check because I'm old school. But yeah, food program money hit. It's the first of the month. Ant Dog says the Indians are somewhat snooty around the ear because they clicked up, Ant Dog. That's why I try to tell people, like, everybody, when they figure out they got some numbers, they start acting different. And around that Sugar Land area, it's a gang of Indians, bro. It's a gang of them. Or it's a gang of them. It's a gang of them, dog. So when they get numbers, and they act different because they got numbers. So we the only group that really don't get that. But yeah, every other group, even other black groups, when they get numbers, they're going to start acting different, bro. And they got numbers in Sugar Land. They got numbers over there, bro, for real. In real. And they even be in like the regular stores like the Walmarts and stuff. It's just that many of them over there. But yeah, they got numbers over there. So Erica says Africans out here driving semi-trucks. They have translators in Dallas for the African nations, at least 4. I feel you. Yeah, I ain't with it. I'm not a fan of that kind of diversity, but we see a lot of people that claim they don't like diversity, but they'll do language diversity. Right? So to me, it's just a lot of lip service. To me, if they really not for it, they need to make English the law of the land and everything got to be transacted in English. But they're not going to do that though. They just give lip service to it. They would have done that a long time ago because everybody knows if they've been to Miami, you go to a place in Miami, man, you can't get anybody to speak English to you. It just won't happen. Right? Everything is in Espanol. You can't even find anybody to speak English. Like it's bad, but that's been going on now 4 decades of that. So it ain't going to stop overnight. You know, so DeSantis will talk all that talk, but down in Miami, he go down there, he won't be able to find nobody to speak English. They big in local politics. They should be. They live down there. I ain't mad at them. They live there. In a minute, they're going to be the police. Erica said Nigerians and Houston be acting funny. They run deep. Yeah, I believe that. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, once they think they got some numbers, and, you know, they're going to start trying to do little stuff because they figure they got an advantage. That's just how I go. You know what I'm saying? Indians do the same thing. Them Asians going to do the same thing. They just got to get some numbers up. Because we got that one part of Houston they call it like Chinatown, where they got Asian signage and everything. Robbie Rob says in Dearborn, I heard about Dearborn. The air is running the whole area so much the building signs are Arabic writing only. I feel you. Yeah, it go like that. But we allow this in America, right? This is allowed. So that's all these people talking about we against diversity. No, you're not. You just saying that on television. Ant Dog says the mayor of Miami is Cuban, if not mistaken. Yeah, I'm Sugar Land. The Indian got one the constable spot. Okay, so it's on then. It's on. And big other them, they doing what they're supposed to do. They're not doing nothing wrong. They doing what they're supposed to do. Erica says in Miami they was dropping my Ubers because I didn't respond in Spanish in the app. Yeah, see what I'm talking about? It's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. That's the type of stuff they do. It's crazy. It's like that. It's like that in Orlando too. You get to the east side, go to the east side of Orlando. They act like them people are like it's like a certain section. It's real. It's long. It's north and south, but it's not wide east and west. But it's a section of Orlando. As soon as you come out of the airport, drive north on 436. Yeah, it's just like that. It's more black people over there now than there ever was. I remember, man, there wasn't no black people over there. None. It's a few over there now. A lot of them is like Africans, you know, maybe like some West Indian people, but ain't a lot of black Americans over there. But yeah, you go to East Orlando, they're like that. Like it's really, really like that. So, you know, it is. I went inside a auto parts store one time asking for directions and people out there, they want to speak English. I say, man, y'all tripping. That's why you learn Spanish fluently. Yeah, I know Espanol a little bit, but I'm not in Puerto Rico. So I do know a little bit, right? Well, I can, you know, do basic conversation. But yeah, bro, I'm not in Puerto Rico, bro. So I don't see why I have to use it. I learned it in college. So T Hill says Indians have the mayoral spot in Missouri City. Yeah. I know where that's at. I thought when I moved to Houston that Missouri City would be more prominent from a black standpoint. It wasn't what I expected because I didn't visit first. I just moved out there, right? But I was told that like Missouri City It's a black section. Black people out there doing their thing, yada, yada, yada. It wasn't no bad area, but it wasn't what I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just leave it at that. Yeah. People that have been to Miami, they hip to that though. Right? Miami is Miami. So if the what you call them two dudes, the Tate brothers, they go to Miami, they good. Because you know, that's already what they already doing that down in Miami. So they'll fall right in line with that. I had a black Cuban, dark Cuban say the check of the Spanish people dealing. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that 100%. They tighten up if they know you know a little bit of Spanish yourself, Erica. Once they realize you halfway understand what they're saying, they change their whole tone around you. That's my experience because I used to work with a lot of Latinos, and I used to come in there. And when I first started the job, I act like I don't speak no Spanish. I can't even understand it. And then when they kind of realize that I could move around based on what they were saying, they'll figure out, okay, this dude actually do know what I'm saying. Then they whole conversation switch up. You know what I'm saying? So once they realize, okay, you actually know what they're saying, they switch all the way up. So it is what it is. Mr. CMB says, if Cubans beef with each other, colorism, definitely. I live in Cali Ocho. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's real. But that's how most of those Latino Caribbean islands do. Dominican Republic the same way. So is Puerto Rico. Plumber Payday says they hate me on the job site. Once I gave measurements in Spanish and the price changes also. Yeah, it's like that. You know, they hide behind their language. That's what they do. They organize behind their language. So yeah, learning it will give you an advantage because they're gonna think you don't know it. Especially somebody like Erica that's in construction, things of that nature. I can understand it'd be a big benefit because you could just sit right there and just talk to them straight up. Because they be trying to hide behind that language, right? But you'll see that you'll go to certain parts of West Orlando. They got some of the Brazilians. They'll be in there speaking Portuguese. And because, you know, if you're not used to hearing it, it sounds like the craziest thing you ever heard in your life because it's not a language a lot of people used to hearing. And it's a lot of Brazilians in a certain section of West Orlando because I used to go to my gym. I used to go to off of Kirkman and Windermere, or Kirkman and Conroy, my bad. Kirkman and Conroy going to Windermere. And they be deep up in there, deep. That's why I used to say all them dudes going to Brazil to see them. You go to West Orlando, you got them same women. And they already over here. But they not broke, so that's why they don't want to go over there. Them chicks ain't broke. They already inside to say same thing in Miami. All the Brazilian chicks in Miami. But they not broke because they in Miami. And you can't be broke in Miami. It's not going to work. Miss Airy says, your landlord don't talk Spanish in front of you because he's not sure how much I understand. I feel you. Indians can do all sort of things except fix things. I feel you. A lot of people can't fix stuff. So do what you do. Yeah. And I'm not mad at them. They should have behind, like that's what gives them power. They can organize around it. You know, one of the things that we don't have is a common language amongst each other. So we can't organize around it. And we don't use it as leverage. Right? So it is what it is. But those other groups will do that. Right? Indians gonna speak Hindu. Brazilians gonna speak Portuguese. They're gonna use their language. They're gonna organize around their language, and they're gonna create communication. You see Africans do the same thing. I've known African people. When they get around each other, they speak their native language or their mother language, and then they get around other people, they talk different. So it is what it is. You know, America allows that. We the only group that was not allowed to speak our native language. Everybody else, you come over here, you do whatever you want to do as far as language and religion. Because it's Hindu temples and where the brother at from out of Cleveland, Ant Dog. He's seen them Hindu temples in Stafford, Sugar Land. They right over there. I used to go by it all the time on the way to the gym. It's a Hindu temple, and it's another like Chinese Asian temple over there, and it's big. So same with patois speakers. My friend's husband had to tell his friends I understood, and everybody switched up. Yeah. And the thing about patois, I don't know pronouncing it correctly, it's really not even like a black. They say it's like black languages and yada, yada, yada. If you go to certain parts of the UK, it's the exact same dialect. That's where they got it from because of who colonized them. So it's really weird that came out in those people and it stayed there. That influence is so strong. But if you go to like Liverpool, they sound like people in Jamaica. It's the same dialect. But they do the same thing. Even with people like, I used to know a lot of Haitians, they'll speak Creole because they know you don't understand it. Right? But that didn't work on me because I know more Creole than they think I know. Yeah, it could be. That thing is massive. So that's the thing. And that's what I'm saying. They got a big footprint out there. And they got bread out there too, dog. The Indians out there in Sugar Land, they got money. So they're going to do their thing out there. And so just give it about 5 or 6 more years, they'll probably have that whole section locked up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. You'll probably see Vivek out there not too long from now. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have that whole section locked up. But they move different, right? And they don't fall out about a bunch of silly stuff. They just ain't going to do it because they know what they up against. Because they know the Chinese out here, the Vietnamese out here, the Anglos out here. So we got to get a foothold some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So give about 4 or 5 years. They had that whole section locked up. They have Missouri City and probably Sugar Land too. Yeah, I've never heard they speak Haitian Creole. I said I've never heard French Creole. I'm talking about Haitian Creole. I don't know if it's the same as French Creole because I don't know any. I don't know any American Creoles. I thought Amber was a Creole. She told me, no, she black. Y'all might know Amber. She been on the channel. I thought she was a Creole. She said, no, she black. She not Creole. She's just from Louisiana. So I don't know any American Creoles that I've actually known personally. Indians in the Bay, they were in Fremont, California. Somebody told me that. I know somebody that's from that Bay area. They told me it's a lot of Indians out there. I forgot what they told me Indians was at too. But they told me it's a lot of Indians. There's a lot of Indians in Atlanta too. Go to Midtown. You'll see Indians everywhere, especially young ones. They everywhere. They literally everywhere. Go to Midtown Atlanta. You'll see Indians everywhere. If you walk around, get out of your car, you'll see them everywhere. So they down here too. Because I was telling somebody about tech. And he was talking about I want some place that's more diverse. Like, man, tech pretty much all Indian. It's black people and white people out there too, but there's a lot of Indians. But yeah, if you go to Midtown Atlanta, you'll see number of Indians, like young Indians, like 25 and under, just walking around. Taking your family to Richmond, building the crib, I feel you. Yeah, I believe that. Everybody in South Florida work overtime, 2 or more jobs, side hustles, huge OnlyFans population, huge escort population, very transactional. Yeah, I mean, Miami been like that for years though, bro. Like that's Miami. It's always been expensive. That's why the dude talking about the real estate market going to fall. He's just, people just saying stuff. That Miami real estate not going to get cheap unless it's a hurricane. They get another Hurricane Andrew. Other than that, it's just going to keep going up, right? You got to have bread. It's always been like that down there. It was cheap like 50 years ago, but once it started becoming a movement, even if you go out like the Kendall, it's still expensive. It's just an expensive area. So I agree with you. It's a lot going on down there. A lot of people go down there. They go to South Beach. They go to a Heat game and they think they know Miami. Yeah, you have no idea what's going on down here, bro. You know what I'm saying? They out of towners, they have no idea, you know, because they still doing the tourism thing. If you really go down to Miami and really sit down there, it's something different. A lot of people they're not really built for it. They think they are. Yeah, we read about that. We talked about that. So let's see if the states follow up with it. So I heard they took down the Spanish part of the, I don't know, government website. So Haitian Creole, yeah, none of the Haitians I knew spoke multiple languages. They spoke English and Haitian Creole. I didn't know them kind of Haitians that spoke French because they didn't have money like that to go to school. The Haitians I knew, I'm from West Orlando, right? So they may speak multiple languages, not the ones I knew. They spoke Haitian Creole and they spoke English. And I know some of them, when they came over here, they couldn't speak English. I watched them learn English. I know Haitians came over here, all they spoke was Creole. I'm from West Orlando. So it's a little bit different than maybe other parts of the country. Because I know Haitians came over here as kids, they couldn't speak any English. They just spoke Creole. They didn't speak French. And they didn't speak Spanish. You know. But these Haitians get on the internet. I'm talking about you, but a lot of Haitians get on the internet try to tell a different story. But yeah, I feel you. I'm really from the West Side. So Ms. Moses says Creole, original name Turtle Island, South Carolina wood. I feel you. Okay, Mr. CMB says the Brazilians out here trying to organize, make their own version of APAC and get some of our taxpayer dollars. They'll probably pull it off because ain't nobody gonna say nothing to them when they do it. They only worry about when black folks do stuff like that. Other groups do it, they don't care. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? They just worry about when black people do it. So they'll probably pull it off. As long as they get some light-skinned Brazilians to be the face of it, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. That's how this game go. So you say they deep, Indians deep in Johns Creek and Milton. Okay, I've never been in those spots. I may have to fall through. It's a lot out here though in the metro, like a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And this been going on. This was like this, like 2012, 2013. Because like I said, they be going to tech. I don't know what other school. I don't know if they go to Georgia Southern. I know they be going to tech though. But they deep, you know. And the thing about it is that their country got so many people. They could be sending people over here forever. They never run out because their country's so populated. I think India and Africa got to some of the highest birth rates in the world. So they ain't gonna never run out of folks. They got 1 million people to send over here. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Because you be seeing them where I live, they be walking. You be seeing them in the grocery stores, and you never see one by themselves. They don't believe in that. Ms. Mosley says, your family's from South and North Carolina, original name Turtle Island off the sea. Our language wasn't English. I feel you. My people from St. Helena Island in South Carolina. On my dad's side. So Ms. SP, are they light skinned? Are they brown skinned and dark skinned Creoles, Black American Creoles? Are they all light skinned? Because I always thought Creoles was mixed. But I don't know. I'm not from Louisiana. Okay, so that's going to be about it. So again, economic blackout day. What's the goals? Did it work? Did it not work? Who knows? We'll find out maybe on Monday. Amazon's going to do their outsourcing. Amazon's going to do their automation using artificial intelligence and robotics. If you work in a particular area, is your job resistant to those particular changes? Or are you one of those people that they're going to probably push out? And even if you work in tech, Dr. Chaz talked about the medical side. They're going to utilize some type of artificial intelligence to try to replace some of those jobs because they just want to replace labor, bring down their cost, and they just don't want to deal with people. Dealing with people come with that. So those are the kind of questions you want to ask yourself to make sure that you have some type of skill set, some type of way to insulate yourself from that to the best of your ability. Because as time goes on, I really think there's going to be a larger and larger push to utilize artificial intelligence to do a lot of jobs, right? And I think a lot of people that are looking to be lazy because they think they got artificial intelligence, they're going to be some of the first people to get pushed out. It should be used as a tool, not really a way to facilitate people's laziness. But some people, they just going to do what they're going to do. So we're going to get up on out of here. Y'all stay safe. I'll talk to you later.